What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down what we're seeing so far when it comes to CPI, some big news involving Tesla, and what you should be watching for in terms of bank earnings. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, right now Tesla's looking a bit more bullish, trying to fight at 320. If we break this, we're looking for the high of yesterday to be retested. But in case we end up losing 311, we're looking for a downside move. For now, Tesla's favoring the 320 area to be retested. It's looking quite bullish. Even on SPY, we're looking more bullish as long as we don't lose support at 626. There's a big gap to fill at 624.7 in case that fails us. But as long as we're above that, we're still technically looking bullish on SPY. So is the QQQ. It's looking more bullish, hitting 560, breaking all-time highs. For now, the market's breaking out, and this could help Tesla push it even higher for now. So the question is, what's going on? Let's talk about the CPI numbers. Core CPI was at 0.2%. Month over month, and for year over year, core is at 2.9%. Everything's basically aligned with expectations, showing a slight increase compared to what we saw previously. And then for all items CPI, we're looking at 0.3% and 2.7%. That's also a slight increase compared to before, but once again aligned with expectations. So the market was expecting these numbers. They're basically what we did expect, if anything, although there is a slight increase. And this is what I was talking about yesterday as we started to see crude oil futures going up. You'll notice that all items CPI did increase quite a bit. It's at 2.7%. And then for core CPI, it's now getting very close to almost 2.9 to 3%. So that's once again a slight increase compared to before. Now, numbers like this are a big deal to the Fed because for now, we are temporarily seeing an increase in CPI, right? There were periods where we saw CPI going up only to get a big rejection and come back down. So we're going to see if it's something like this or if this is going to be the start of a trend where this continues to go higher. We're going to see just to be safe, guys. So be very, very careful. When it comes to news about Tesla, Tesla opened its first India showroom, showcasing the Model Y cars with the starting price of nearly $70,000 USD. The reason it's that expensive is because, once again, there's very, very high tariffs on India, which range from 70 to 110% on imported cars. Elon Musk has been criticizing that. And despite that, Tesla's still willing to once again increase and expand into India and try this out. They've been talking about this for years, so I do consider this to be very historic for Tesla. So we'll see how this goes. There are audiences there that can start buying these Teslas up, and that could once again help their sales to some extent. Some more news is that President Trump is also saying that he wants to impose a 17% tariff on tomatoes imported from Mexico. And he's talking about more potential tariffs coming up, but obviously the market's doing completely fine. It's not really too worried about this. And then there's been a lot of talk about how the EU may retaliate, affecting like Boeing and many other products like American alcohol and etc. But we'll see what happens with the tariff deals and how things end up going. When it comes to the big earnings, the majority of them were actually quite good. JP Morgan, for example, saw it lift its outlook for the full year net interest income. So good job by JP Morgan. Share prices up as a result. Citigroup also saw a nice increase. They beat on their earnings, and we saw their net income up 25%. The share prices up. Wells Fargo is doing all right. There's a slight miss in their net income. Net interest income, but everything else was quite decent. They did beat on earnings, so they're kind of like flat as a result. And BlackRock is looking for new records amount of assets under management. Despite that, we did see some nice increases overall in the share prices, a little bit more bullish. That's what we're seeing so far. Even Nvda has announced that they're going to continue to sell their H20 chips to China. That's some good news for them. So a lot of good news is coming out for the markets for now, and we are looking a bit more bullish. So as far as Tesla goes, this is our range. If we break and hold at 320, we're looking for basically this high at 323 to be retested to break out. If we end up losing 311, we're looking for a dump back down. This is favoring 320. We're going to see if Tesla can break that to continue, but overall it is looking a bit more bullish. As long as we don't end up losing like 311, we're favoring 320 or above if that ends up breaking. Now on the daily time frame, let me just add that on the daily, Tesla's looking decent, but there is a tough resistance right here at 320. We are seeing the MACD curling quite well, but we need to see it break and hold 320. So I do think Tesla's going to be testing that stand. We're going to see if we could hold above it or not. But for now, we are looking a bit more in favor of bulls, looking at the current trend and our setup. So for now, Tesla does look a bit more bullish. Looking at SPY real quick, it is technically more bullish as long as we could hold above the 626.25 area. If we're bearish, you want to see us basically lose the 626.25 zone to start dipping to fill this gap to the 624s. As long as we're above 626, we're favoring an attempt to slowly push for 628 or above and break all-time highs. So for now, SPY does look more bullish unless we start dipping to fill this gap. For now, we do favor upside, and we have a kind of like a cup and handle right here. We're also getting a bullish cross in the PPO, so technically, SPY does look a bit more bullish. Also, in the daily time frame, we got a daily bullish close, so it's looking pretty good right now, favoring upside. But we're going to see if we could hold these levels. On the QQQ, we look more bullish. We're trying to make higher highs and higher lows. And then at the same time, we're looking for basically 562. If we end up losing basically 558, there's going to be a big gap to fill at 556. But for now, we still favor the upwards direction as buyers are continuing to step in. So lose support, we're looking for a dump to fill that gap. But as long as we don't lose our key support at 558, we're going to once again continue to favor the upwards direction and in attempts to continue to push for the 560s. But can we sustain these levels on the QQQ? That's the main question. If we do, we're looking for 562. On the IWM, we look more bullish. We have a gap to fill. I do expect us to go to like 225 to fill that gap. If we lose 222, though, there's going to be a risk of 220, but we still look more bullish. ES is looking decent so long as we don't lose basically 6,300. We're favoring 6,350 or above. NQ looks more bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. If we lose 23,000 flat, we're looking for a dip. As long as we're above that, we're favoring new all-time highs for 23,200 or above. Still holding up quite well. Bitcoin dipped. I don't want to see us lose 115,500. If we do, we're dipping lower. As long as we hold this, we're looking for a test of 118,000. I want to see if we break this to continue. Tesla looks more bullish. I do expect the 320s, and we're going to see if we could break and hold above them. We just need to hold those levels. Nvidia is breaking up because we have some very, very bullish news about their H20 chips being sold to China. If it loses 169, there's a gap to fill back down to 164. As long as we're above that, we're technically favoring 175 as a potential target. Apple's just kind of choppy right here between 209 and 208. So I do think this chops around, but it might retest 210. For those who are interested, we have AMD looking bullish. It's pushing with Nvda. If we lose 150, we could turn back down towards 146. But as long as that holds, we're favoring 155 then 157.5. Looking more bullish. Coinbase, if we lose 381, we're looking more bearish. But as long as we hold above that, we're going to be favoring 393. For Amazon, we look bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. If we lose 224, we're looking for a bigger dump. But as long as we're above this, we're favoring 228 as a potential target. Meta looks more bullish to me. We're currently favoring 727 or above. Google looks more bullish. As long as we don't lose 180, we're also favoring 185 plus. And Microsoft, if we end up losing 501, we're looking for a dump back down to 496. I want to see us hold this green support here to continue to push for 505, so please keep that in mind. The VIX is dipping. We have a gap to fill, which does suggest more upsides likely coming. So for now, the broader markets look bullish, which could help Tesla to some extent to push for the 320s. So far, so good by Tesla. We're looking quite good. With that being said, guys, we're looking bullish. Tesla's launching in India, which is great news. Although their vehicles are more expensive there, they could still get a lot of sales because, once again, Tesla has a good brand, at least for the most part, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested. So with that being said, Tesla does look more bullish. Let's see if we could hold above 320. And CPI, although it did show signs of a slight increase, it was not as bad as what some people were expecting. And for now, the market remains bullish. So we're going to see if we can sustain these levels. If so, we do expect this to continue. That's the most likely possibility. Thank you for listening. Peace out.